was opening the shift that day. I walked past the golf cart with its flat tire. It was coming up on its 2-year anniversary of being broken. I scanned my pass and opened the door to the kitchen. I walked in, past the storage closets, prep stations, and freezers, to finally meet the sink. While I was walking, I was thinking about what the twist was going to be for the final of a show I was watching, or about maybe going back to school after I saved some money up. I thought about how nice it would be to leave at the end of the day, to feel the setting sun on my skin and a cool breeze of wind hit my face after being next to steam all day was a feeling of unmatched relief. I also couldn't wait to blast some heavy metal in the blown-out stereo. It helped to drown out the stressful day I knew was ahead. It didn't matter. None of my thoughts mattered in that moment. As I rounded the corner of a cooler to get a view of the sink, I only remember seeing the bloody, lifeless bodies of my coworkers on the floor. I don't even remember picking up a notebook covered in blood. I was the first to find it that morning. I immediately called my supervisor, security, 911, and anyone else I could get hold of. Security got here first, a big man named Reggie, who gagged at the first sight of the 2 bodies. I don't blame him. One was missing half the flesh on his arm, leaving only the ulna and radius sticking through, and the other was purple, with hundreds of small needle-like holes in his face and neck. I tried not to register them as the people who trained me and talked to me every day, but it was too hard. I was in tears with Reggie, consoling me when the police came. They closed off the dish pit, covered the bodies, and got our stories. I didn't even know I had blood on me, I guess. I tried to resituate them, even if it was a vain effort. I was cleared, and the restaurants, kitchen, and everything else at Riverside Memories Retirement Community were closed for the day. Days passed, and no new information came to light. The police said the deaths were murders, but no suspects have been identified yet. The police were still investigating, but the residents had to eat, so the kitchen opened a week later. There went all the evidence to solve this case, but truly, there was no evidence. None of it made any sense. The bar gate out front was open because no one was scheduled for security that day, so no one would have seen someone suspicious come and go. No weapons were found in the investigation, so how could one of their arms be shredded like that? What about the hundreds of small holes in the other's face and neck? Could Raymond and Grant have killed each other? I knew these people. I didn't hate each other. There were only 4 of us in the dish pit. Sure, some people came and went, but we grew to be a small family. Grant hadn't even clocked in yesterday, and there was the blood-covered notebook, which had ended up in my backpack, staining my clothes. I only now just realized it, as Maxwell had woken me up from my intense daydream about evidence while I was washing dishes to see if I was hurt. It was my first shift back, and the idea of having to stand where the 2 bodies were to wash dishes upset me. There was an extra weight in front of the sink, like 3 hands had grabbed my legs and forced me to stand there. Usually, the kitchen was a bustling place. Servers would run by for extra silverware. Cranky chefs would scream at you for entering within a certain distance of their invisible bubble. And overall, it was a loud, yet productive place. Now it was like a ghost town. Only a skeleton crew was in place. 2 chefs who would normally be barking orders had gone silent. The dozens of footsteps and cartwheels rumbling the ground were absent, and even the heat vents above the grills, which normally had a constant hum, had fallen ever so silent. The only thing worse than being stuck with your thoughts in silence was that whoever was in charge of cleaning the blood didn't do a good job at all. There were still blotches on the ceiling and high up on the walls. I was holding back the floodgate of tears all morning. In the past week, I couldn't get the image of their bodies out of my mind. Trying to solve their murders was the only escape I had. Jaclyn. His deep voice always made me jump. Yes, sorry. Hey, what's up? I stammered out in an overly friendly customer service voice. Your jacket, it's bloody. Did you hurt yourself? My supervisor noted. I looked down, and sure enough, blood had stained a large portion of my blue kitten hoodie. I had no idea what caused it. The blood wasn't fresh. It looked like it had been there for a while. Oh my God, you're right. But I didn't feel anything. Do you think I could have grabbed a knife by the blade? Or maybe, hey, it's okay. Go wash up and I can finish this set. If you did hurt yourself, go home for the day, okay? Actually, I think it's best if you just head home. I'll hold down the fort. Besides, we have a new hire coming in. I want to show him the ropes and try to get another set of hands in here as soon as possible. I was so glad to hear those words. I will, thanks, Max, I say as I untie my work apron and throw it on a drying rack. Maxwell had been able to feel my hesitation about coming back. I guess it was pretty easy because I had been silent all shift, staring up at the blood. After the brief interaction, all my thoughts were on the bodies again. Some of my uneasiness was relieved by Maxwell. He cared for us like family. When he came into work the day I found the bodies, he didn't stop crying. Eventually, he ran out of tears, but his dry sobbing didn't stop. I didn't ask about his personal life, but I guess his work family was closer to him than his real one. On my way to the break room, I passed by the obituaries of the residents who passed on the announcement board. As usual, there were about 5 to 7 names up on the board. Grant and Raymond's photos were up there next to a few of the residents. Residents' deaths just seemed to be happening more often. I guess it bleeds over to the workers now. Raymond's face was a smooth paper brown bag, but what I saw didn't reflect that. It was white as snow when I saw the body, like someone sucked the blood and flesh right off his bones. I started to run to the break room. I needed to focus on something else. Instead of the bodies, calling my friends bodies was the best way to remove their no longer existent personalities from them. I burst into the break room to get fresh clothes from my backpack and check up on myself. No cuts to be found. I only found the culprit of my stained hoodie when I went to get a replacement. The shirt I chose from my bag was stained, too. The last time I used this bag was when I found the bodies. I flipped my backpack upside down and spilled everything else onto the floor. My glasses case, phone charger, and spare clothes all came out as expected, but a small brown and red notebook fell to the ground with a thwack. I don't ever remember seeing it before. It was a high-quality, leather-bound journal with a strap to keep the covers closed. The leather had dark crimson on it. The first few pages looked like an idea dump. There was a list of songs under the heading Soundtracks for a Movie, with one of the songs being Tangerine by Led Zeppelin. The next page was covered in blood. The only things I could make out were the words game ideas. There were a few pages with the heading accomplishments. Most of these pages were empty, one of the few entries being, got a job? Similarly, there were pages with the heading to work on. It was hard to decipher what some of the text said through the curtain of hemoglobin, but most of the pages were filled. One bullet point was circled and highlighted. All it simply said was zoning out. After that, there were more pages covered in blood, and then a journal started. Every few days, there was an update about how the writer was doing, their thoughts and feelings. One of the entries was about the dish pit. It was highlighted in bright neon yellow. Most of the entry was covered in more sanguine, but I could make out what follows. The 12th of February 25, management sucks. Notable thing that happened was the garbage disposal breaking down. We had a few plumbing issues before, which management didn't deem as a top priority fix, so I knew this wasn't going to be fixed anytime soon. I wished they gave a shit about us. My immediate thought was that I shouldn't have this. This was crime scene evidence, and I was ruining it with all my fingerprints. This was Grant's notebook. The only reason I could tell was because of the fluid English, yet the countless spelling mistakes. I should have taken it to the police. But maybe, I thought, there was something in here that could answer what happened, and the cops wouldn't. show me because of confidentiality and whatnot. I let my nosiness take hold. I kept reading. I'll try my best to transcribe what it says through the gore. These thoughts grew ever more common over the past weeks, and so would the daydreaming. I kept asking Maxwell, but he just said the same thing as before. I always had a fear of not being in control of my body or mind. Probably why I talked to Maxwell so much about my insecurities. Insecurities were spelled wrong in the book. A lot of words were. The blood was too thick to read. What was next? I tried to recall any time I saw Maxwell and Grant talking together, but only his lifeless body popped up in my mind. I didn't want to show Maxwell the journal. He would have probably broken down even worse than before. So I followed his suggestion, and I left for the day. I was going to read through as much of the journal as I could. For additional enjoyment, please subscribe to our channel to stay updated with our latest content.